back to Wake Up Woodward. Thank you guys for choosing to kick off your day with the Woo Crew. Man, Detroit sports. Yeah. It's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
We got one really, really, really good team. One team in the Red Wings who's probably about to cross that line into playoff team. And then a couple of them that are kind of trying to find their way right now. But all in all, a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about, especially at an event that you had the privilege of going to yesterday.
Yes, sir. Killed it, too.
Mr. J.B. Bickerstaff and his press conference that he didn't really share, but Trajan Langdon was right there by his side, shows that they're a unit, that they're one, that they're two basketball minds who have had success coming together. Love to see it.
I love to see it. J.B. Bickerstaff was somebody who, even more so, you see like the first press conference, then we have the media scrum afterwards in the one-on-ones. That guy's a coach, man.
Yeah.
Being in sports and everything, just hearing him talk, seeing the mannerisms, kind of you can with a coach, you generally can almost feel the expectation. It's more than just what that person says. Like with a substitute teacher, sorry, Flannel, I'm probably not feeling the expectation, but with a coach, you're just like, bro, when he says it, you believe it, and you got to do it, especially if you bought into this team. And J.B. Bickerstaff, he gave me that impression overall yesterday. He said a lot of good things. Obviously, we've heard people in the past say a lot of good things. And so we want to be able to see what he's saying translate on the court. But I do believe that at least the plan that we kind of heard throughout the press conference yesterday was one that you can at least get behind.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And for the record, as a substitute teacher, I certainly was 2023-24 Monty Williams. That version. I will say that. That's why I'm not doing that right now.
Man.
No, but it also, yeah.
I would pay good money to see you be a substitute teacher for a day.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I do want just your first kind of quick just impression of J.B. Bickerstaff in the press conference yesterday.
I don't want to be too just cliche, but obviously it seems like he cares. He didn't mention money or anything in that. He's passionate.
He wants to be here.
He wants to be here. He mentioned some things, some specific things, like how he values Cade Cunningham. When the question was posed about defense, he even mentioned Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart by name, which I find pretty intriguing because we all know a guy like Jalen Duren, that's the one thing he's missing. Obviously, he can't shoot the three or much or anything like that, but in the short term, if he can get those defensive instincts up a little bit, if he can use the frame that, like, he won the genetic lottery. He is built to be a rim protecting type guy. If he can really hone all of that in and allow J.B. Bickerstaff to kind of mold him, I think we can maybe get the best out of Jalen Duren. Maybe make him a poor man's Evan Mobley or Jared Allen. Not saying he's going to be those guys as a defender, but a poor man's. Get the most out of his defensive talent. He mentioned something that I also think is interesting and very appropriate for this team about units on the court that fit.
Talk about it.
That was huge to me because I think that there's a pathway that you can get a first unit and a second unit that fit together well. And that there's not a lot of, I would say, moments where there's not enough shooters on the court, there's not enough defenders. You can probably always get enough of what you want in two units, and I think he values that. And lastly, I think he understands what Jaden Ivey's skill set is.
Yes.
That's what really kind of was like, okay, he understands what Jaden Ivey is. He understands play downhill, that he's
been
athletic.
around those and has coached those types of guards.
100%. And obviously we know Monty Williams' first faux pas was that he benched Jaden Ivey at the beginning of the season. He put in a lineup with Killian Hayes and playing next to Cade Cunningham, playing next to Asar Thompson. It wasn't right. And I'm not saying that I'm the biggest Jaden Ivey fan or anything like that, but J.B. Bickerstaff might understands how to get Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey to fit together as well as they can, or get Jaden Ivey running the second unit. So I'm not too much into opening press conferences, but J.B. Bickerstaff certainly impressed the hell out of me. He said a lot of important things with not a lot of fluff. KG?
Yeah. And you hit everything on the head, man. But one thing that he said that I thought, was kind of important that maybe people overlook is the fact that he wants these kids to have fun. He literally brought that up multiple times. Like, the vibes are going to be different here. We're going to have people in this building that they feel good coming in to see every day. And I think that's important when you have a team coming off a 14-win team. When you've had the 2 to 3 year stretch that the Pistons have had, let alone the last 20 years, like, it could get stressful coming in that building, man. And I think that's going to do a lot for these young guys, man. coming in the building, knowing that, yeah, we're going to hold you to a certain expectation, but at the same time, we're getting back to the core of this thing. We're getting back to having fun on the court. Like JB mentioned, that you will be able to watch the TV and see the type of basketball that they're trying to play. So I just have a lot of confidence. He just seems like he gets it, man. I think this was the right hire. I feel way more secure about it now, including everything else he said about the defense, about Jaden Ivey playing downhill, getting shooters around Cade Cunningham and utilizing him to his ability. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think they did a good job here.
KJ, I like what you said, maybe a transition to what their identity might look like on the court, because our man Brandon Dent asked a really great question.
Shout out
to JB Bickerstaff. But I'll put a bow on this part because I agree with everything you guys said. To me, it wasn't necessarily what he said, it was how he said it. Like, he spoke with energy and some charisma, and this is not a shot at Monty Williams, Troy Weaver, Dwayne Casey, not a shot at any of them, but it feels like for the last few years, like energy. Press conferences, they've just been very monotone. They've been very boring. There's no character to it. JB Bickerstaff, he looks energized. He looks ready to go, and I think that will not only help him communicating with the younger team, but just in general, this team needs a little energy. It needs a little spark. I feel like this could be the guy.
Yeah, and not just a spark from an aspect of like being rah,
Right.
but from a guy who can say, I need that type of energy in everything you do as it relates to working out, making sure that you're there for each other as teammates, and making sure that you guys are going out there and giving your all when it's time to hit the court. But yeah, I was able to ask him, one of the more important things to me is just this identity and culture. We've heard everybody say, well, he didn't really mesh well with the Cleveland Cavaliers, young guys. He wasn't really able to build the type of identity and culture and whatnot. So I just wanted to kind of get, and then we've heard on the other side, well, no, he was somebody that had some success. He just clashed with one of the star players. And we saw as soon as Bickerstaff was out, Donovan Mitchell signs that contract.
Yep.
So I was interested about what things he valued as it relates to building an identity and a culture. So, JB, you have that clip?
Oh, yep.
Let's rock.
Welcome to Detroit. It's Brandon Dent, Woodward Sports. I just wanted to ask, what are some of the most important aspects of building a team identity or culture, especially with a young one like this?
The fun part about it is, you get to start here and mold it how you kind of see fit. And one of the things that we do as a coaching staff when we come into these new situations is we try to find ways to connect our team with its fan base. We know the history of, the Detroit Pistons and the bad boys and the rough and rugged style that they like to play. And when they were at their best, with the Rasheed Wallace and Chauncey Billups crew, how great they were defensively, how physical they were, how they challenged people, how they competed. And to me, it seemed from the outside looking in that their fan base embraced that style of play. Obviously, the rules are a little bit different now. But, I believe that the Detroit fans will love guys who compete their tails off. They'll love guys who are willing to sacrifice their body for the greater good of the team. They'll love guys who play selfless basketball, and it's not just about me. So as we do our work and research, we study a way to connect the team to the fan base, and I think that's where we start. And I think we have the pieces here to do that. We have some rough and rugged guys that don't mind mixing it up, guys that don't mind scrapping and can play with a grit. But then again, understand how playing selfless basketball impacts winning. And I think that's where we'll start. But what you'll see is, come February, come March, you'll be able to turn on the TV and you'll be like, oh, that's Detroit Pistons basketball. And that's what we aim for.
Ooh, he said a key word there. Now look, all during the NFL draft, we heard prospects and even free agents use the keyword grit or gritty.
Yeah.
Did JB Bickerstaff just say
he
grit?
absolutely did.
Oh, man. That's music to my ears because we've been talking about the edge and the identity that we want to be able to see out of these Detroit Pistons. And you know what? He's saying the same things that we heard that Trajan Langdon said he wants out of his team. So we already know that there is kind of this one singular voice, and they're going to try very, very hard to make sure that it is followed by these players. I'm hoping that the players are energized by everything that they heard and saw out of the JB Bickerstaff press conference. But he said a lot, man, to go and relate this thing to, not just mentioning, but talking about the specific players. You know what I mean? From our previous teams, from the bad boys, from the going to work era. Because we hear this all the time. We're going to hear the coaches and new people come in and talk about, oh, we're going to be just like the going to work Pistons. But I actually felt like he was somebody who studied this thing.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he said, you know what? We really want to be able to connect the fans to the team. What that means, in my opinion, is making sure that those players feel the responsibility of what these fans have already experienced, man.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that.
Oh yeah, no, it was a great question by yourself, great answer by JB Bickerstaff, as you said before, and I think it's definitely important in the city of Detroit. Something that I'm learning in my many years that I've been here and the years that I will continue to be here is that it's important to know the history. It's like JB Bickerstaff wasn't just Coach X going to X team. He was going to the Detroit Pistons. I'm not saying that Monty Williams, I mean, he just kind of came back. He said as much for the money. He probably would have preferred to take some time off. And JB Bickerstaff, he studied the Pistons. And I think with somebody like him, along with a guy like Fred Vincent, this is going to be a team that next year, the three-point shooting is going to go up, along with personnel, of course, guys like Malik Beasley and Tobias and Tim Hardaway Jr., and they're going to play better defense. Because even though Cleveland had a lot of very talented defensive players, guys like Max Strus and Georges Niang, they were really good defensive players under JB Bickerstaff. So I think guys are going to improve. The 3-and-D is going to expedite, and that alone, I think, will supercharge the Pistons rebuild to where it's maybe a little faster than you think, because I think Cade Cunningham's a special player. He will be in the Basketball Hall of Fame one day. Ooh. Yes, I said it. Cade Cunningham's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's special. He's special. He's generational. He's transformational.
Anybody in here born 1979?
Oh,
you know what?
No. Well in the 90s.
Spartan, great, man. Forever Sparty, right?
Forever.
He got the shirt on and everything, man.
Yeah.
He came in repping. You know, all of us are Michigan guys except for JB Smoove in the TD booth. He wore his Spartan hat today as well to represent. So
all right.
I'm glad to have you on. We're going to pay some bills, and when we get back, we're going to talk to the legend, Greg Kelser. I can't wait.
Yes,
I can't
sir.
wait. Got to get your opinion. You were there yesterday. It was good to see you. But first, let me tell you about something that's almost as awesome as Greg.